Hey, Kasiah, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We are so excited to be chatting with you.
Yes, we are.
We've had some fun before we hit record here. Our correspondence goes back to 2020, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
That's when you first found the show, right?
Yes, when I was in search of anything home birth, for my first home birth, I was searching for podcasts, Instagram accounts, anything, and that's how I came across you guys.
Well, we're so happy you did. And now
Yes,
you're
Me too.
been a journey.
Yes.
we're excited that we get to connect today and hear your story and hang out.
Yeah.
So kick us off. Tell us a little bit about you and your world. Who's in it? What's everyone up to?
Yeah. So I've been married to my husband for going on 10 years. We have our own company. Well, he does. And I stay at home with my three boys and I homeschool my two oldest boys.
That's
So
amazing.
that's what I do. I'm a mom.
You.
Beautiful.
You are an integral part of that whole component though. Like you said, you both definitely have a company because
Yeah.
you make that possible.
Yes, I agree.
Amazing. That's
What
great.
what are your boys' ages?
So my oldest Jensen is 6, and then my son Jones is 4, and then Benaiah is 7 months.
Oh, that's awesome. 6, 4, and 7 months.
That is a
Mhm.
full life, Kasiah.
Yes, it
That
is busy and loud.
yes, that's great.
We love that. We were
I do
driving the
too.
other day in our
Mm.
car, and our girls were both singing different songs at the top of their lungs, and we were just commenting to one another how much we enjoy the loudness and the
Mhm.
calamity that can come with having young kids. So
That it will not
It's
always be that way.
yeah,
exactly. I know. I try to cherish that because I know one day it's not going to be like that for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your backstory because I love this. Let's add some context here. You are a second generation home birther.
Yes,
Can you say a
absolutely.
little more to that?
Yeah, so my mom in the early 80s made the choice to have a home birth. After she went through a miscarriage, she didn't necessarily like the treatment she received from that. So she decided to do something different and looked into home birth. And from there, she had four of us at home. Um, yeah, so me being her last one, yeah, she had all four of us. And then I just remember um, finding the pictures. They were in a Kmart bag. I don't know if you remember Kmart, but
Oh,
it was
yes.
it
yeah.
was in a Kmart bag. She had all of her birth photos. And I just remember being a little girl and like sneaking in the room to like look at these pictures because I was so mesmerized by her strength to do this. And like you didn't hear of that. And then she also never talked about birth as scary. It was like this beautiful thing that we were just meant to do. It was like, oh, I had four home births. It's just what your body can do. And it was just really inspiring to me. And I always kind of looked up to that.
Oh,
That's
that's so cool.
incredible. Were
Yeah.
your siblings present for your birth?
Yes. All of them were. My brother was only 2 at the time, and he remembers some details about it, like the placenta and stuff like that. So, yeah, they all remember it. There's pictures of us around the bed, of them holding me and stuff. It was beautiful.
Okay, follow-up question.
Yeah.
Have any of your other siblings also had home births?
Yes.
Okay.
So my very first nephew, so my mom's first grandchild, was born at home on my sister's 19th birthday. So
Oh,
Mm.
I was 15 years old and I got to be there as well. It was a water birth and it was beautiful.
that's so
Wow.
cool how it comes full circle. Like,
Yeah, the tradition
wow.
continues.
It's absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. Okay, so now let's fast forward to part of your journey and something
Yeah.
we talked about when we discussed, what would we get into today as it relates to your story.
Mhm.
Some part of your history and in your story involves loss, involves two miscarriages.
Yeah.
I was wondering what you could share about that in terms of, well, the timeline of it as far as where we are now, and then how it just ties into how you relate to your most recent birth journey.
Yeah. So at the beginning of last year, we found out we were pregnant again, and it was really exciting. And for whatever reason, we just didn't think we would have a miscarriage. And then shortly after finding out, we lost that baby. And then without even a cycle in between, got pregnant again. And I had a really traumatic miscarriage the first time. And so the second time, I was obviously a little bit scared. Um, I had some doctors and nurses that treated me pretty poorly during that time. And so I knew the next time I was going to do things a little bit differently. So I went to like a free clinic and had stuff like ultrasounds and stuff done there, and then lost that baby as well. So my midwife decided, wait until you have one cycle before you get pregnant again. And we were fortunate enough to get pregnant for the third time last year. So from March to June, there was three pregnancies. Um, and it was really, really hard. Just going into the third pregnancy, constantly worrying if something was going to happen. And even though we got to like each milestone, it was still, you still worry. Even though you saw the heartbeat and the transits go down, you still worry. Every like thing that I did was a worry.
Mhm. That is a lot. That's a
Wow.
physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually in a span of time like that. I can
Hmm.
only imagine what were some things that were supportive during that time, whether it was people, places, content. Was there anything that supported
Yeah.
us?
So the Women's Care Center in Madison was amazing. They were extremely helpful. Our church family was there for us. I had friends that would just show up with flowers or baskets or just offer to take my kids for me, my older kids, so I could have some time to just grieve. It was, yeah, takes a village.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anything you would offer for a mother, for a family going through that right now? Or even it doesn't have to be right now. It could have been a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. There could
You
be
know,
still going.
yeah, I think like no matter how far along you are in a pregnancy, it's still your baby. It's still something that was wanted and planned for, or at least in my case. And I just, you know, don't give up hope because you never know what the future holds. Like I I didn't expect to get pregnant that many times, but the fact that something in me kept fighting and now I have my sweet baby, it kind of it doesn't take away from the pain that you went through, but it also makes you appreciate the things that you have, I guess, a little bit more.
Mhm. Yes.
Thank you for sharing that.
You had had a home birth previous
I
to
did, yeah.
and so now going into this third pregnancy within a few months span of time, what came up for you as you thought about planning for the birth? Did you think about going in a different direction? How did that unfold for you?
Um, no, I didn't think about doing it another way because we enjoyed our home birth so much. Um, the only thing was I thought maybe we would go the hospital route just to get like tests done, just to make sure things were okay. But once things lined up, we were like, nope, I'm not doing anything. We ended up going back to the free clinic um, to have like our ultrasounds and stuff like that. But our plan was always home birth
Got
at
it.
that point.
And so going home birth, but did you think about doing anything either the same as your previous birth or different based on what you might have learned or experienced that other time around?
I knew this time around I wanted a birth photographer and a videographer.
All
Okay.
Spend the money, do it. It's worth it.
That's great. That was
I was,
a big shift for us too, from
Yeah.
one
yes.
to two is one, even knowing they existed, frankly,
Yeah.
but then wanting that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was we ended up adding on the video part after he was born. I had already told my photographer like take some video just in case my husband changes his mind, but I knew going into it I wanted to do the maternity photos. I wanted to do the video. I wanted her there just because I was like I've been through so much this year that I need this documented.
Mm. What a great way to celebrate yourself and honor
Yeah.
the process.
Yeah.
That's all right, Matthew. This is where I know you want to ask about Ben. So,
Talk to us. Yeah, talk to us about Ben and his role and the ways that he supported and anything you want to share.
Yeah. So I'll take you back to 2020. He was not on board for a home birth. He
okay,
kind of thought,
Okay.
great. We love this.
yeah, he kind of thought our family, because me being born at home was kind of a little bit strange because that was like not the norm. But I knew if I wanted him to have a home birth, he needed to meet a midwife that sold the deal.
Hmm.
And so we interviewed a few of them in 2020. And as soon as I spoke to our midwife that we picked, I I was like, she needs to talk to him because she's going to be the one to convince him, not me. And so from there, we interviewed a few, and the one I picked was who sold him on the home birth. And then after that, now he's like, I would never do it a different way. He's like, everyone should learn about home birth because it's glorious. He's like, who doesn't want to have their baby in their house and then hang out in their bed and eat pizza afterwards?
Right? Right?
I love that full 180 shift.
Yeah, and now he's like an advocate, and just
Yeah.
anyone who brings it up, he's like, home birth, do it, look into it, talk to my wife, stuff like that.
That's so great. I was just going to ask about that because we've heard so many times about the dads who become these home birth ambassadors, and you're
Hmm.
at a barbecue or something and they're like
Yeah,
burgers and be like, yeah, you should totally have a home birth.
Let me
that
see the
is
photo.
Ben. Yes, that is Ben. Actually, one of his coworkers actually just recently had a home birth
Oh,
because
wow.
of us sharing our experience.
That's that really touches me personally when I think about the whole kind of thing of what this show is about, and that it's just putting it out there as an option, right? As a possibility. And someone could do it, not do it, but like for that family, the friends, they might not have known.
Mhm.
And through Ben and him being awesome, it's like not only did they know, but then explored it and then found what worked best for them. Like that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, it's been really cool to watch him. Now he's just like so into it. It's
That's
funny.
great. You do you, Ben. You keep on out there. Spread
Yeah.
the word.
Was there, I'm gonna ask one more question on this note. Was there any one piece of information or one conversation that Ben had with the midwife you went with that helped to get him on the other side? Or was it just a process of learning more information, more facts?
No, I would say the thing that sold Ben was she described having a home birth as somebody getting ready to go into space, and how everything has to go perfectly, and that they won't send you unless everything goes perfect. And so she was saying like a home birth has, like, throughout your pregnancy, has to go really well in order for you to execute the delivery at home. So
Oh,
that sold him.
Space analogy.
love that
Listeners
analogy.
who have not heard that, and so many moms listening right now are like, "Oh,
Right. Yeah. I know. I was like, oh, this is good information. And so
yeah,
after that, he was like, yeah, I can see, because you're not going to be able to have it unless it goes well. So your pregnancy and all your appointments are going to have to go well in order to have the home birth. And she would recognize that something was going wrong before it got really bad. So
yeah,
Yep.
yeah." Oh my gosh, I see a Chat GPT thread. I'm like, "Please explain to me in a Neil deGrasse Tyson way how home birth is a great option and make an analogy with going to space."
They,
yeah.
everyone should watch that movie, The Martian, because in that movie, The Martian, they talk about risk in
Oh
going to
yeah.
space. Yeah, that's one of the
Oh my
things. So
gosh.
that's like put that in the Chat GPT thread because you'll expand the analogy. That's great. I love
Yeah.
that
It's
analogy.
not on my bingo card for today, but I love it.
Yeah. It was good. It was good information. It worked. I was like, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, she was on point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back to your pregnancy.
Yeah.
There were a few challenges. Could you highlight some of those for us? Because again, I know someone listening can resonate.
Yeah. So right around 7 weeks, I started feeling extremely sick.
Mhm.
And like, to the point where I didn't leave my house for 5 weeks, not even to check my mail. And I have two small children that I'm homeschooling. And so it was really, really hard. I couldn't function. I couldn't hardly eat. It was terrible, terrible. I also have emetophobia, which is a fear of vomit. So it was like 10 times worse for me. I would literally go from like my bed to the couch. Um, my husband had to sacrifice a lot for me. Again, friends, family, our church, like, basically supported me the whole time, because from 7 weeks until delivery, that's how I felt.
Oh, so it's from 7 weeks all the way through till delivery.
That's intense.
It
Wow.
was really bad. Yeah.
How did you care for yourself within that? Because if you're feeling so awful, yet at the same time, you have this human growing inside of you that you want to be you want to be taking care of both of you.
Mhm.
How was that?
It was really hard, really hard. I just would try my best. I don't know. It was super hard just to stay hydrated and to um, eat the things that sounded good, which weren't always the healthiest, but I had to just do what I could at that point. I was basically in survival mode.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Were you doing anything to support yourself mentally and emotionally in the midst of that?
A lot of prayer
Beautiful.
and a lot of friends praying for me, and then just staying close to my closest friends. They basically carried me through the whole thing.
Yeah, I noticed in the details you shared before we started the interview about your like your tribe, your people that are mentioned a
Hmm.
lot throughout your story and will
Yeah,
they come up in the birth itself. But I just that stuck out to me seeing all these names and whether it was blood sister or chosen sister, it just seems like you have
yeah,
a really solid team.
yeah. I really do, and I'm so thankful for them.
Yes. Okay, do you feel good to get into birth details?
Sure, yeah.
Right.
Do
So
it.
tell us how it started.
Okay, so it ties back into the day before. Well, first of all, I had three sweeps or two sweeps, and that did nothing. And I was really hoping they would work and that I would go early. Um, so on the 7th of March, I was extremely fed up. And I was like texting my midwife. I'm like, can you get me in for one more sweep? I want to get this over with. And yeah, so I went there that afternoon, which also happened to be my mother-in-law's birthday. So I was like, okay, this is going to be perfect. Get things started, maybe have a birthday grandbaby for her. But she did a sweep. I had no change from the two before. Um, but at that time, she also did a full like visit, which I wasn't anticipating. And at that time, she discovered that my blood pressure was a little bit high, like over the threshold of where you could have a home birth. So um, we discussed our options and how she could come with me to the hospital and get me out early and all this stuff. But she's like, but I want to encourage you to at least try some things to get labor started naturally. So I was like, okay. I left that appointment feeling extremely defeated. Like I think because throughout the whole pregnancy, I had anticipated something bad to happen because of the losses before. And so I was like, oh, well, here it is. I'm going to make it this whole time. And then now I'm not going to get my home birth. Um, so I ended up stopping at the store and getting castor oil and gonna do all the things to start labor. I called my best friend and another best friend on the way home and like, should I take it? Should I not take it? And all this stuff. And ultimately, I decided not to do that. But I did go home and pump for a little bit just to see. But then I was like, screw this, it's not gonna work. Um, I'm just I'm just gonna have to wait, I guess. And that that night we ended up having my in-laws over for her birthday, and like I was just trying not to cry because I was like, this is never going to happen. I'm going to be pregnant forever. Um, we had dinner and all that stuff. And then I went to bed, or before I went to bed, I called my sister. And my sister, I told her what had happened with the blood pressure and how I didn't think I was going to get my home birth. And she's like, nope, we're going to pray about that. And she prayed for me. And she's like, you're going to have your home birth. It's going to be peaceful. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be joyful. It's going to be all these things. And she's like, your blood pressure is going to be great. And so I just was crying and I went to bed, like, okay, we'll see what happens. Um, and in the night, I started having dreams that I was fully surrendering my body. And in these dreams, I would say, I surrender, I surrender, I surrender my body. And I would get up not realizing that I was in labor, but I kept waking up and going to the bathroom. And every time I would fall back to sleep, I would have these dreams of I surrender, I surrender, I surrender my body. And so finally, after a few times of that happening, I woke up and was like, I think I should start timing these because they keep happening and these dreams keep happening. And so that's when it started.
Sounds like dream labor.
Everything about his birth was a dream. It was like a super hard pregnancy, but like the most magical, peaceful labor.
Wow.
That's a, whew. And after, because we're not just talking about the duration of the pregnancy, which had its challenges, and you talked about how you felt, excuse me, physically during that. But then we're talking about the time before that and the healing and the processing and the loss. So you've now been through it, lady. That's a lot to,
Yeah.
from, you said it being in survival mode for a long period of time. I'm sure fight or flight. Your hormones are doing their very best to do
Yeah.
everything to bring baby to a healthy place to come into the world. So I am very grateful for you that you were able to go into that space like, okay, here we are. Let's bring this baby
I
earthside.
think what was cool about it too was like I wasn't even like telling myself that I surrender. It was like my body's natural way of like surrendering, right? Like surrendering to welcoming my baby to come into this world. So it was really cool.
Hmm. So what was going on in the house at that time? Is everyone asleep? Did you have
Yeah, so
the other kiddos?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you have plans for the other kids? What
Yeah,
would,
my mother-in-law was supposed to come
okay.
back when we went into labor. So yeah, they left our house before bedtime and then I finally so my husband was sleeping down in our basement because I was pregnant and I wanted my own space. And so I had texted him around like 10:30, 11 after I realized that these kept coming. And so he came up and we're like, well, we should just let the kids sleep and let our mother-in-law sleep. And so we didn't really do anything. We just labored together for a few hours before we even called anyone or told anyone. It was just us upstairs.
That's a really sweet, magical, intimate time to have to.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay, so then what came like what was the next phase, if you will?
Yeah. So then we called the midwife and she was just like, yeah, it sounds like you're at the start. Like this is, a good sign. Call me if anything picks up. And she's like, call your support people, let them know. And I'm like, okay, great. So we did call my mother-in-law back and she just slept on the couch waiting for the boys to wake up. But again, she didn't hear anything because it was just super peaceful. Um, my contractions never got more than 3 to 4 minutes apart or like lasting longer than a minute. So me and my husband just were up there until the boys woke up.
Okay, Kasiah, we're back. We
Yes.
had some technical difficulties. Thanks for hanging in there.
Yep.
Walk us back through the house is kind of waking up. The boys are getting up. Things are happening here. What's going on?
Yeah. So my boys woke up and my mother-in-law was there to take them. I got to have a really sweet moment with my boys in between contractions before they left. I got to say goodbye to them and tell them that the next time they see us, there'll be a baby. And so that was really sweet. And then from there, me and my husband just labored together at home and waited for the rest of our birth team to show up. And around, I think like 7 or 8 in the morning, my best friend Angela showed up and my cousin Ashley showed up as well, and we just hung out. In between contractions, I opened some gifts that I had. I ate some syrup that we got from our trees that we tapped. I just we just hung out, and then when I would get a contraction, Angela would be on my back with a heating pad, and Ben and Angela or Ashley were each on a side holding my hand. And then as soon as I was done, back to laughing, cracking jokes, telling stories. It was like the most peaceful,
Wow.
joyful, magical home birth.
Like a normal event. Hey, come hang out with me while I eat some
Yep.
syrup and open presents and we have some laughs. And then, oh, also a baby's gonna
Yeah.
come out of me soon.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly how it was. It was like I kept thinking like when is this going to get worse? Because my previous labors were very long. And so I was like, oh, we still have hours and hours and hours and hours of left of doing this. And when is it going to pick up and get worse? And it just never did.
Yeah. Okay, question. When
Yeah.
you mentioned the boys leaving, How much do you feel like they had a sense of what was going on or that a baby was coming? Also, did you know the gender? That's a couple of questions at once, but
No, we did not know the gender with any of our boys.
oh no.
Um, I know it's like the best surprise in the world. Um, so my oldest, I think, knew more of what was going on than my middle one. Jensen originally wanted to be at the birth, but ultimately we decided not to, just because my other one would want to be there, and I wanted to really focus on, being present in my labor.
Yeah.
So he had an understanding. He was the one that was more of, okay, like pretty soon there's going to be a baby. Jonesy was just more like, yay, I get to go to grandma's.
Oh, okay. Being Jonesy.
Yeah, exactly.
So with Angela and Ashley,
Mhm.
did you know they were going to be there? Were they there for your other home birth? What were the conversations leading up to that for them to
Yeah.
be a part of it?
So a little backstory. So Ashley is my cousin. Her mom and my mom are sisters. And so her mom was actually at my birth almost 40 years prior.
Love this.
So it was super cool. But no, so Angela was at all three of my births.
Okay.
And Ashley was at the two home births.
Wow.
Ashley actually caught Benaiah.
Okay. All right. We're getting
Yes.
there. We're getting there.
Yep.
So,
Yep. And that was our, and Angela caught Jones. So that was these were all pre-discussed. I knew right away I wanted Angela at my first birth because she just brings this like peacefulness, and she calms me, and like, I mean, and plus I wanted support from my husband, right? Like to have somebody else there, to help him, to give him breaks. And I knew I needed somebody like her to be there. And then Ashley just being one of my best friends and my cousin, um, I just knew I wanted her there. And so we asked her, and she's like, absolutely, I'll do whatever I can, which was funny because she was actually like an hour and a half away at a bowling tournament and was up all night the night before and still came on like 2 hours of sleep. She's like, I wouldn't miss it for anything.
that's incredible. And good on you for knowing what you wanted and having the people around you to support that happening. And it sounds like you created exactly what you wanted.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely. And I encourage people to do that.
yes. Yeah. You're an example of what's possible. I love that.
Mhm.
So you are wondering if this thing is actually going to pick up, but it sounds
Yeah.
like it doesn't. But then how did we end up with a baby? What happened?
Yeah, so I really didn't want to like call my midwife too soon because I was like, oh, I don't, my labors are long, and last time I felt like we called her a little too soon. But there was a time I went to the bathroom and I was like, I can feel the sac. And I was like,
Like
we
that
might want to,
pressure and the,
yeah,
yeah.
yes. And I was like, we might want to call Mary, my amazing midwife. And so they finally called her, and she got there, I want to say around like 10 in the morning. And she said, when she got here, she was like, I was so surprised because everything was so still and like peaceful. And like, I didn't hear any screaming or anything like that. Um, so when she got there, I asked her to check me, and she was like, yeah, you're 7 centimeters and I can feel the sac as well. And she's encouraged me to move a couple positions just to bring it on a little bit quicker, um, which I wasn't super thrilled about, but I trust her. So we tried a couple different positions, and before I knew it, she, she was like, "Oh, I called Connie. Connie's going to be here," which is the other midwife. And at that point, because I was so in tune and so aware and so like just awake around my surroundings. I knew what was happening. Like this time, I just didn't feel, I don't know, I just felt so relaxed and peaceful that I was like, oh, well, if Connie's coming, that means this baby's coming soon because they don't call the second midwife in until you're about to start pushing.
Right.
And so I was like, wow, that's so great. That's amazing. That means we're really far. Excuse me. And then all of a sudden the photographer was there, and I'm like, this is great news. Like, this is so great. And still just calmly chatting in between the contractions, and like introduced myself to Connie because I had never met her in person, and like, oh, it's so good to meet you. And like everyone thought it was like funny how calm and peaceful and relaxing, and it was just like the most magical labor. I can't even describe it other than magical. And yeah, we had like worship music in the background, and I just continued to do what I did with my friends and my cousin and my husband.
You were like oxytocin embodied.
Exactly. Like when I fully surrendered in my dream and when labor started, I think I really fully surrendered my body to just do what it needed to do. And like, okay, I'm just going to do this. And I just got really blessed with a really easy labor. But it wasn't always like that because I had two really hard labors before that.
Hmm. And
It
so
was almost like a redemption birth, I feel like it was like God saying, like, here's this little kiss, like after all that you've been through, I'm going to give you this little blessing.
it's just what a blessing. That's incredible.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
what was happening when baby arrived, and did you know it was the moment?
Um, I feel like I did because my body just naturally started pushing. Um, I had the reflex or whatever it's called.
It,
Yeah, I was just like, okay, I'm pushing, I'm pushing, I'm pushing. And it was just, they were like, okay, that's great. Like, step into it. And um, yeah, and then before I knew it, it was like he came out and he was in the sack, and it was just like super incredible. It was just so I can't even explain like the calmness that was there. It was just like just peaceful and joyful.
and so who caught him?
My
Angela?
cousin,
Okay.
yeah, my cousin Ashley, she caught him. Um, and then I ended up finding out too that my aunt said I was born in the sack as well, which was super cool. That
These are some
like both of us.
crazy synchronicities.
I know, isn't it amazing?
Yeah, you can't make that up.
Right. And I actually didn't know until my aunt had told my cousin
Mm.
that I was born. So Ashley got to catch him, and then they had to, open the sack and stuff like that. It was really amazing. I
Yeah.
will say too, when he came out, and I didn't know that I said this until I watched my birth video, but as he came out, I just kept screaming, I did it. I did it. I finally did it. Because I think like I said, I was anticipating all these bad things happening and then having the blood pressure be kind of high. I think I was just anticipating something bad to happen. So when he finally was born, it was like, I did this. I finally did this, and he's here and he's well. And it was just amazing.
And so what was the rest of the room doing? How was Ben?
Oh,
What?
we were all just like so excited because it was a boy, and everyone thought it was going to be a girl because my pregnancy was just so different. And he came out and we're like, it's a boy, and everyone just cheered, and like my midwife kissed me on the forehead and was like, you did amazing. And it was just this happy moment. And then everyone just kind of went downstairs and had coffee while I laid in bed with my baby. And and then my best friend came up with yogurt and fed me yogurt while I held my baby. And it was just this calm, everything was just calm and peaceful and beautiful.
Mm. It's so important to me that there are examples of birth like this, the way that you described it, and now that you're sharing it, and now that others will get to listen to it. And like I said earlier, you see what's possible, like you being an example of what's possible. It just means so much to me that we can share stories like this. And there's all variations it shows up, right? It's not always going to be calm. It may not always feel calm.
Yeah.
Totally okay, but that all of it can be represented, and that for the woman who wants that experience or wants to hear of those who have that experience, because maybe calm and birth is exactly what clearly it's
Mhm.
what you needed at that time.
Yeah.
And for someone
Yeah.
else, it's exactly what they want to create and experience. And so how can we do that? Well, we can learn from each other, and we can share our stories and connect and gather in that way, even if we're not going to ever physically be present with each other or know each other, but someone could be listening across the country, across the world, and be impacted by it.
Mhm.
So then when did brothers get to meet their little brother?
Um, so they came out after everyone cleared out, which everyone I think kind of cleared out from what I remember, cleared out pretty fast, because they just cleaned up and um, after they had coffee and they checked everything and then left. And it was like shortly after that. So I want to say he was only a few hours old. I mean, he was still wrapped in a towel by
Yeah.
the time they came. And we didn't tell him the gender until they got there. And it was the sweetest moment. My oldest was holding him and like, I can't believe he's here. And he like got all teary-eyed and I was like, it's okay, like you can cry. And he was like, he's just the cutest thing I've ever seen. And it was just a really sweet moment with us in the bed, like as a family with our sweet little baby.
Kasiah, that's amazing.
It was amazing. And you know, I should say too, like Benaiah is literally what his birth was. He's like the happiest, calmest,
Mhm.
sweetest baby ever, like hands down the easiest baby I've ever had. So
Oh,
he like lives up to his birth.
well, yeah, there is something to that. I love hearing those connections being drawn because our second was born in the middle of a thunderstorm and
Oh,
shows up like a thunderstorm.
okay.
So, yeah, she's not calm.
Yeah.
But
Maybe that third one will be.
maybe. I don't know. I just got a little bit of sweat there. But yes, I I'm so grateful to you for sharing your story with so much love, with so much grace. You shifting from listening and hearing other stories when you were in your process and now you get to be that for others. It's it's so incredible.
Thank you.
As we kind of come to a close here, is there anything else that comes up for you, whether it's a specific resource, a word of wisdom you would like to bestow, affirmation? Is there anything that kind of comes up for you in conclusion of this conversation?
I think just like go with your gut and like do research. If you want more, there is more. There's a lot of resources out there. Like once you start doing searching for what you want and stuff, you can find different things. Madison has a great collection of midwives. Like I've worked with quite a few of them, and they are all amazing. So look up your area and see what you can find, and you can usually find some amazing midwives out there.
Yeah, that's great.
And as far as like encouragement, like with going through miscarriages and we've done infertility treatments and stuff like that, I guess I would say just don't give up on your dreams of being a parent. If that's what you want, there's ways out there to become a parent and don't give up on hope. Because there was a time I didn't think I'd ever have a baby, and now I have three.
Now you have three. You magic maker over there in Madison.
Yeah.
I appreciate you so much. I know Matthew didn't get to close out this conversation with me today due to our internet connectivity issues. So he had to go run, pick up a kid from somewhere. But we both appreciate you so much. I know the rest of the community and those listening do as well. Kasiah, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.